So Joe, there are a lot of agencies that do online marketing. Why did you decide to start an agency?
That's interesting that you asked that because we started SalesX to help clients do more sales. It wasn't necessarily to do it via online advertising, but then as we got into it, we saw that that's where the biggest bang for the buck is in terms of opportunities for clients. And then we found our uniqueness in that we actually think in terms of business value. We don't think just in terms of activities. We think in terms of creating and moving the business value dials for our clients. So obviously revenue generation is a big business value dial, but there are several others that we go after at SalesX as well. And we've built our entire approach in trying to maximize business value for our clients, and that's our differentiator.
Interesting. So it sounds like you go beyond just measuring clicks and the traditional AdWords metrics, but really connecting that up to the business data and what C-level people might want to see in their financial statements.
That's exactly right. So we're kind of data junkies, data hogs. So yeah, we do a lot of measurement of stuff, but then we process that information and then we synthesize it for executive decisions, right? Executives, they only care about, there's a fixed number of things, 10, 12 things that they care about, whether it's expanding markets, cross-selling, upselling, revenue generation, headcount management, those kinds of value dials. So we collect loads and loads of data, and then we try and figure out, all right, what's the strategy to try and move the needle on these various business value dials, and how do we collaborate with clients to make sure that that happens for them, and that they can then wrap strategies around those kinds of results, and they can make their numbers and hit their forecasts and get their promotions.
Yeah, that's what matters.
Internally,
right,
that's exactly right.
So and that sounds pretty unique and pretty cool. Now, when you're having a conversation with a typical business, whether they're doing online marketing or not, what is it that you wish they understood better? Because I think you do have a little bit of a unique approach to online marketing. So what is it that you wish people were thinking about more in 2016 and beyond?
Right. Well, the main issue is, if you're really investing in online, that means you're spending a lot of money online. That means you're having an opportunity to gather a lot of data. Then that data needs to go to someone that is thinking in terms of bottom line thinking. It's not just doing the same old, same old. If it's a small shop and they're spending a few $100 and they're not really making a lot, they're not collecting a ton of data, then there isn't much of an advantage that you could have. But if you're actually making an investment enough to where there's a ton of data being collected, then that data could really be leveraged for your benefit of your business and your own reputation and your position in the marketplace against your competitors, and you could really define your direction using that data, and that's kind of where we specialize. We come in.
And I think that's actually an interesting problem. So I speak to a lot of advertisers, and yesterday I was speaking to someone who said he was spending a lot of money on AdWords, all of $2,000 a month, and obviously that's not a huge sum, right? So that's one of those people who's not going to have that amount of data. Like, how do you work with someone? Because everybody ultimately wants to be that player that has the data, that can have amazing results. But how do you go from being that smaller advertiser who's maybe limited by budget because the results haven't been there, to getting to that place that you're talking about where the numbers really help you steer the business?
Yeah, and that's a great question. Internet leads generally are different from other traditional sources of leads, like referral leads or leads that come in through other sources. So there's some specialized knowledge that goes into how to deal with internet leads. And we have that knowledge, right? So we help our clients, and we have clients that have built actually internet sales teams around the work that we do. So they started out by saying, oh, the salespeople, they don't like the internet leads because of X, Y, Z. And we say, well, these are the reasons for that. But those internet leads are actually really, really good. So you need a specialty salesperson for that purpose. So now those same customers are transitioning their budgets from print to internet because they're seeing that, hey, it's a lot higher conversion rates and so on. It's so you need a partner, you need an agency partner that will help you understand the difference between traditional media, internet media, and what does it take to convert internet media into revenues and other business value. So.
And I understand you have a background in sales and learned from some of the best. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah, so I grew up for a few years at Oracle. So Larry Ellison is a pretty competitive guy. So
yeah, that's sort of an understatement there.
yeah. So at Oracle, basically, you need to be an expert, but you also need to create results, right? You could be the best, you could do the most work, you could dedicate as many hours as there are in a day, sleep under your cubicle, whatever. But at the end of the day, if you don't have the results, you're still out. And that's kind of the mentality that we have at SalesX. It's like, great, all this work is great, but where's the results? Are we seeing the results? That's why we actually measure our success by really closely identifying key performance indicators and then driving the entire account strategy based on those key performance indicators. And it's amazing how many clients we've taken on and they really have a foggy idea of what their key performance indicators could be. And so we work with them from a business perspective and really reverse engineer how they should be thinking about their key performance indicators and then how to update it and adjust it and so on. And so again, it all comes down to business value driven activities and results.
Right, and so you work with the people in charge of the business, managing the accounts to really understand those business values. Do you ever work with the sales teams to make sure that they know what to do with that internet lead? Because you explained that was a little bit of a different lead typically, and how to make sure that that lead actually goes somewhere?
Yeah, so the internet leads, generally speaking, they're more fickle, right, than say a referral lead. So they have to be treated differently. They have to be treated more rapidly. You have to get to the point because people that have probably contacted several people, not just you. So you can get in there quickly, come across as an expert, build rapport rapidly, and then get to the point. Make sure that that person understands that you're there to help them. If you're just leaving a message or whatever, that's probably not going to work. You need to definitely get a hold of the person, and time matters. If you're, I always make this example. I tell my clients, look, if you're in the middle of biting into a sandwich and a lead comes in, don't take the bite. Put down the sandwich and address that lead
because that's what's going to buy you the next sandwich, right?
That's going to buy your whole team the sandwich, right? No, but realistically, because by the time, if you want to finish lunch and then call the lead, then your competitor might already have that. So, and we do a lot to generate that lead for you. So make sure you're taking advantage of it. And that kind of awareness comes with some education. I mean, I've done lots of training of clients. I did training for 6 years for SBA and kept getting invited back. Because of those kinds of things. It's like you have to have a mind shift, like a reframing, if you would, on digital advertising versus traditional advertising. And that's why working with a digital only shop can make a difference, because we think that way. We just think digital and how that impacts business.
Right. And it sounds like you're even thinking about what Google calls the micro moment, when the consumer is having that thoughts wherever, whenever they want to get something done, they pick up the phone, they call the business, and it's really important to capitalize on that micro moment by answering the phone and really jumping on that lead.
Not just answering the phone and jumping on the lead. That's all. That's key. That's where it all starts. Okay, but also recognizing that if a client has already looked at your website, for example, they've spent some time looking at your website, then they call you. There's a different approach. Mm-hmm. If they're coming in from a click-to-call campaign, that's like a really cold call. So they don't know anything about your business. That's a different approach. If they've sent in a lead, that's another approach. So it's a little bit of education, can go a really long way. And then we also think about other elements. What happens, how do different channels integrate with each other, right? It's how does brand versus non-brand integrate? How do social media integrate with, for example, AdWords, and how does display integrate with remarketing? And all of those things, they need to be thought through and then translated into business directions and coached for the clients in order to maximize that benefit. Otherwise, it's a whole lot of effort that's being wasted, and I don't like that.
Yeah, and that makes sense, being able to identify the different touch points that consumers had and where they came from, connecting all those pieces together. But that sounds like it's almost a technology play. It'd be very hard to do that manually. How do you at SalesX think about bringing the technology and putting those pieces in place so that you can do some of the stuff that you're talking about?
Yeah, so that's actually a great question. There are a lot of technologies out there that are built on API, and API is basically built for the lowest common denominator. What we do is we create custom scripts with your own help and with your optimizer tools, but we also create scripts that are unique to each client's needs. Now we have scripts that address all of our client accounts, but we also have scripts that are just custom for each account and their needs. So we're able to do a lot of work that other agencies either couldn't do or wouldn't do, just because it would be too time consuming for them. And so we have that edge using technology, and then the specialists addressing each segment. So it really gives our clients an acceleration in their success.
Well, great. Thank you for sharing a little bit about how SalesX does business.
Appreciate it. Thank you.